Conscious Collaboration brings together entrepreneurs, changemakers, and thought leaders. We aim to highlight the people that embody the idea of aligned mind, body, and business. Each week, we share, discuss, and learn from the various experiences and ideas of our guest experts. Through our discovery, we find a path to an aligned mind, body, and business.
Hey guys, I'm Emily.
And I'm Lisa. And we are the Conscious Collaboration. What up, Emily?
What up, Lisa? And Dr. Miriam. Hi.
I'm sure you can see this glowing angel right next to me. This is my friend and mentor, Dr. Miriam Divinsky, world-renowned spiritual dowser and master and mentor to international business owners, even international business organizations, helping really the entrepreneurial spirit to be more fully aligned with success and abundance and their inner light, right? Their what they set out to do in their life path journey. So welcome, Miriam.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Yes.
We just had the pleasure of coming off another presentation together to a group, and Dr. Miriam has just like a presence about her that I did very little marketing for this event that we showed up to, and people just came out in droves to hear her speak.
Mm-hmm.
It's just her presence.
That tends to be the theme whenever I see her show up anywhere.
Yeah,
the people follow.
Right? Like
a couple, yeah.
Studio.
We've had one right here. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So, Dr. Miriam. So I'll tell a little backstory. So Miriam and I met each other almost 3 years ago. It was at the beginning of the pandemic. When people were not really making connections to one another, right? It wasn't really a good time very easily to meet people in person, but it just so happened everything lined up very well that we were introduced through a mutual friend to attend a wellness event together. I gave Dr. Miriam a ride to that event and picked her up and found so much in common with her to learn that not only did she practice the spiritual dowsing that I practiced in Feng Shui, but she had connections to one of my favorite books, Dowsing Beyond Duality, that I read in learning my practice of dowsing. And how did that come to be?
Well, this still one of the best book, if not the very best book on dowsing. It's a Cohen and Cohen, spiritual dowsing beyond duality. Irina Cohen, many years ago, was my client, and I taught her to dowse. And that's a brilliant book, and I'm very, very proud to endorse it. And on the cover of this book, there is they signed it to me as their friend and mentor. Just maybe a little bit overstatement, but again and again, I recommend this book to anybody and everybody who would like to learn to dowse, because from A to Z, you become a spiritual dowser if you have patience and desire to dowse.
So, Miriam, can you explain to everybody what exactly is dowsing and why that can be so important and useful as a tool for business owners?
Muscle testing and dowsing both is extremely important to understand and to master. Even on a muscle testing level, it's already a huge step ahead in your business and in your personal life. Our body knows truth from falsehood. And it's an extremely important knowledge, because both Yeshua, Master Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, all of them said there is only one sin, and the sin is ignorance. And the dowsing, the muscle testing, is an answer to that problem, because it allows you to know truth from falsehood. Dowsing is, in my opinion, better than all of them, because muscle testing allows you to know yes and no as a truth discernment. Dowsing allows you to do to know yes, no, and allows you to release what you don't want to release and install what you do want to install. So it has more power because of more opportunities to work with energy. I always love to cite Dr. Susan Shumsky describing of dowsing. It's in her book, How to Hear the Voice of God. Dowsing is the way to hear the voice of God through your own higher self, which is obviously I am presence of God that you express as a human being, as a spiritual human being. If it's very, the beginning of dowsing, it's actually pretty simple to learn. And if you would just take a pendulum and say, this is my yes, this is my yes, this is my yes from 7 to 9 times, and you will ask, show me my yes, and you will see this pendulum, 8 from 10 times will show you your yes. And then you say, this is my no, this is my no, this is my no. And you say, what is my no? And pendulum will move in that direction. A little bit more complex is this is how I release. From my position, it's a counterclockwise, and this is how I install. Again and again, if you will take the book, Dowsing Beyond Duality, it goes into details, how to do it properly, how to make an agreement with spirit, how to make an agreement with your higher self to do it properly.
So a pendulum, because we're not going to, it's just an instrument. It is simply a crystal or another shape at the length of a chain that you can hold and allow it to swing. And now for those that aren't going to see the video attached to this recording, it is when you're programming it to yes, it's a forcibly swinging it back and forth. To program it to a no, it's a forcibly swinging it left to right, because you want to reserve your circular spins for programming and installing or removing and releasing. Right. Okay, cool. So, and why, having this access to truth why is this so, and I'm already filling in the blanks in my mind, but important for business.
It's important for anything. Let's imagine you want to take a supplement, and let's imagine, somebody told you, this supplement changed my life. Why would you take it too? And it's true, somebody's life was changed, but taking vitamin C, right? And you ask yourself a question, is it 100% benefit, 95% benefit, 90% benefit? If this is so, yes, you should take vitamin C. But if it is 70%, maybe you need a different vitamin.
Yeah, it's not the best. Yeah.
So the knowing, the discernment, the knowing the truth is extremely important step in any life, specifically in the spiritual development. Because this gives you assurance of discernment. Again and again, ignorance does not know the difference between truth and falsehood. And this is a reason for immense suffering of humanity. All wars, all hunger, all disease, all this is a result of ignorance, not knowing yes from no.
Yeah. Yeah. Emily and I just came off a talk in the previous episode about the importance of grounding in neutrality. And and that's been something that we've been working on, is at least getting to that place of neutrality and higher, right? So can you explain on the low scale of energy versus the high scale?
Well, the higher your placement on map of consciousness, the more your life is guided by your own higher self. The higher your placement on the map of consciousness, the more are you connected to your own higher self. And what is higher self? Higher self is Christ consciousness, and I am presence in you. This is actually who you truly are. You are human expression of God, of infinite spirit. And the higher your placement on a map of consciousness, the more attuned, the more connected, the more aligned you are with who you actually truly are. And when you are attuned to that, life is completely different journeys than when you're not.
Yeah, we talk about that. And authenticity and showing up as, close to your true self as possible all the time.
Mhm. And in business, as soon as you know the craft of what you're doing, you know what you're doing. And now, what's the difference between very successful people and not very successful? Attunement to higher self. Because when you attune to your higher self, you're completely guided. The opportunities come to your life. Miracles follow miracles. Situations open up. There is a saying that when you step on your path, when from other people are walls, from you for you will be windows and doors. You're on your path. You're attuned to your higher self. Life has two games, outer game and the inner game. And at a certain point, outer game is a function of inner game. The success of your outer game is a function of who you are and how aligned you are with who you truly are, which is your higher self, which is infinite spirit, I am presence in you.
And, I happen to know, Dr. Miriam, that you are a devotee to your own physical body and your own physical health as well. I know you do yoga and you train regularly. Where does that lie in your mind as far as helping a person be able to be connected to their highest self? Where does the physical vessel fall into that puzzle for you?
Okay, let's say it again. If you believe that you are embodiment of spirit, right? That you are connected to your higher self, that you are form of a spirit, isn't it your highest obligation to keep that form attuned to your highest frequency? And to me, personal training, yoga is the tools for my body to be able to attune to who I truly are. And I truly experience myself as I am present. A person cannot function on a body level, at least, 9 from 10. I don't believe that they're attuned to their higher self. It's impossible.
We talk a lot about, too, that we're talking about the inner self. When we ignore something within ourselves, within a level of our consciousness and awareness, just like Louise Hayes talks about, it starts to express into our bodies.
Right.
So, if you get a rash, like say, on the right side of your body, for example.
That usually means that there is a problem in your work, in your career. And if it's a rash on your left side of your body, the problem is in your relationship. So the right side of your brain is your personal relationship, and left side of your brain is your professional relationship. And
it's opposite.
Practice it, and I teach it. I start every session with my clients saying, "What do you feel in your body?"
Yeah,
and I interpret for them the signs that they give me. There is a brilliant book written by Martin Brockman, The Inner Cause of the Disease, that talks about expressions of body. And I would recommend everybody to look into it.
Yeah, that's always been like right on the money. In terms, I mean, it's very amazing. It's a great place to start and investigate like what is going on here, because it's going to, whatever is manifesting on the inside is going to show up on your body and then affect your business, right?
Correct. You cannot imagine how many women would tell me, I always have a problem with the right ankle. What is wrong? All right, ankle, if you left brain, it's no joy in what you're doing in your business.
Ooh.
And if your left ankle is the problem, then there is no joy in your relationship. But think about how to change that. And in a minute person, and first of all, the very first thing is to understand why. Because the body is your inner mind. It's your inside of your deep, very deep superconscious, right? There is this movement. So when your superconscious understands, oh, okay, she or she got the point, then I can relax. But just by that symptom may sort of release a little bit or release a lot. And then you got the message and you need to do something about it. If you want to It's all start with consciousness. And it's in your consciousness that problems should manifest in your body to show you where is what we need to do, where is the problems that we need to address.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So
that's inner game. Right?
Yeah, that's the inner game. And do you see a similar inner game play out for solopreneurs, entrepreneurs on our level versus on a large organization scale? Are there similarities?
Well, it depends on the leader of organization. I do have clients who have quite international big businesses. And if this person who owns the business does what he or she is supposed to do, the situation is better, much, much, much better. But, very often there is a lot of people who work for a person. And a lot of my clients, before they fire or hire, consult with me. Mm-hmm. Because specifically when they hire, we saying, at least needs to be 90% of benefit to hire that person. If it is 70% of benefit, look a little more. It's not enough. It's not enough alignment of your higher self and the person who you hire, which is potentially always a problem.
Mm-hmm. So that hire wouldn't sustain very long. It might be okay in the interim, but not be someone that's going to grow.
Right. There's no ability. There is no alignment.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty wild. Yeah. What was your experience in the, so a lot of business owners and local entrepreneurs showed up at some of your recent local workshops here in St. Petersburg and in Gulfport. And what was your experience or your feel of the energy in that space that seemed to be the greatest challenge for entrepreneurs?
I think people need to realize that our success, we are a vessel from infinite spirit to work through. Mm-hmm. And I think that the missing link in teaching law of attraction is exactly that it is interaction between us is the way of infinite spirit to bring to us what we call success. It still comes from spirit. It does not come through other people. It could be through other people's hands, but not through other people. It means the spirit works through other people's hands.
Right.
And that what in my opinion, is missing when people talk about law of attraction. They say, your energy. Correct. But it's my energy in connection with yours. Mm-hmm. And the more people will understand that we need to be connected because we are mutual vessel for our success. But we vessel, we're not a source. Source is my father, mother.
You know what I just thought? I just realized, Emily and Miriam, we're talking about consciousness and we're the conscious collaboration. And
collaboration.
Yeah, a lot of what we have followed the leads on in terms of like even our friendship is that it was our conscious following our consciousness in attracting each other and seeing like we're consciously collaborating in our businesses,
right?
And having that recognition.
Birds of the feather flock together, right? People on a certain level on the map of consciousness attracted to each other with such a force that life will allow us to meet. Mm-hmm. And this is what we call coincidences. There's no such thing. It's a force. It's a God force in action.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like how we talk about fascia as well. Like you can't move body parts in isolation without affecting the entire rest of the body because it's all connected. Even though they all have separate functions, the body doesn't work. I can't just deal with my finger.
Correct.
the whole thing is affected. So that's what that reminds me of. You can always draw parallels from fascia to other things.
And is a very good example of how we are
Mhm.
connected. Everything that
Mm.
we believe it's an entity, but
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
one knows that,
Mhm.
and this is what it is. We all are connected. You know, one of the sociological, anthropological models of humanity is an anthill. And it's a very interesting experience to observe how it works, or be a hive.
A beehive too. Yeah. That's
Mhm.
It's a very interesting experience to understand that every one of them separate, and they have the mission of promotes the whole movement.
And they're communicating through vibration and buzzing.
Absolutely.
That's wild. Yeah. And I do see.
And there's a queen.
Sure. And the queen. Yeah. Like ever since I started working with you, I do see that fascia connection and network like you describe. It's very much like that. As we're talking about law of attraction, very much similar to that entanglement theory. Everything is connected to one another, no matter how many miles apart. We're all going to find a way to connect and collaborate together in some way. And now even more so that things are virtual, we're able to collaborate with you on the other side, in St. Petersburg from Gulfport. Just there's so much power in that.
I have clients in England and Germany. It's completely no difference.
And it works just as well.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
I have a client in England, in Germany, client in Germany whose placement on a scale is unbelievable. It's above 700. And interestingly enough, he works for a big corporation, and they call him St. Felix. So when he comes into the room, everything changes.
They really feel his presence because it's so high vibe.
They call him St. Felix.
So for those who are wondering what the levels are that we're talking about, Dr. Miriam is referencing the consciousness scale by Dr. Hawking,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
And there's very low level. On the low level of this scale, you see the frequencies of 200 and under, right? There's the energies of lack and despair and shame, right? Shame is very low down there, under 200. Now, on the top of the scale, it goes up to 800, right?
It goes to 1,000.
1,000, but not many people are above 700, right?
Krishna, Master Jesus, and Buddha were 1,000.
Okay.
That's known 3 embodiment of spirit who were 1,000. Everybody else is under it.
So what do you say about this is a little bit off topic and we're going to come back to the inner and outer game, but what do you say about the spiritual practitioners out there who are promising people enlightenment?
It's difficult for me to comment. If person himself or herself not above 700, they need to work on their placement on the map before they can connect to other people, spirituality. It's my firm understanding.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem like, and Emily and I have talked about this quite a bit, that people are starting to recognize the importance of energy. And the word alignment is not a foreign language to people anymore. So they understand it's important to have tools and to maintain these aspects. And we've talked about that.
Should be
with your own higher self, right?
With your higher self, it's a Christ consciousness, and I am that.
Yeah.
And if you allow, it was Carl Jung who said, the privilege of life is to know who you truly are. And this is who you really truly are.
Yeah, there's power in that
spirit,
authenticity.
Spirit in human form. And when you really understand that the embodiment of spirit in human form, how dare you not to love yourself, not to be confident, not to have self-worth.
Right, that self-worth that we see so many, Emily.
How dare you not to have self-worth? I love
how dare you?
The problem with a lot of us is this. Our self-esteem should be a mirror of our self-worth. And our worth is infinite. Instead of that, what's happening in the child life, specifically female life, her self-esteem becomes the mirror of esteem of other people. And that needs to be put aside, and person needs to understand that my self-esteem is a mirror of my worth. My worth is infinite. Therefore, my self-respect, self-love, self-esteem, it's infinite. There is no measure to it. If I'm embodiment of spirit, there is no measure to it. So we cannot say it's small, it's big, it's infinite.
Yeah.
And when you live on that level, you're vessel for good for other people.
That's so interesting that you brought up too. I'm making connections now because you brought up, when you're a child and your self-esteem starts to change. And so I'm connecting it to, we always do our I Ching pre-readings, and Lisa connected to some different childlike energies. And then in the reading that y'all did prior to this recording, same thing, you were connecting to childlike energies. And so that just makes me think, like, I don't know, do you agree that when you're like a baby, you're closer to that, 700 and above higher vibration, and then we unlearn that self-esteem, that self-worth as we age and interact with other people?
Right.
Well, it's even stranger that we were also doing a presentation to entrepreneurs prior to this, and the energy of youthful folly came up. And in this session where we're preparing for the podcast in terms of business, we were looking at the energy of innocence in terms of pureness, both childlike energies, that inner game, and having your, and I know you have protocols for this too, connecting into what we came here to be, who we came here to be or to exude, as children. And like you said, Emily, we unlearn through how we're taught and influences and disconnect with that. And then the rest of our life is trying to reconnect with that.
Absolutely.
It's a huge business advantage to be able to access that purity.
All right. I have a child who's an adult man by now. And my mission as a mother was, I knew that it's a very high level. So, and my mission as a mother was not to spoil it, not to interact with it. Let it be. Just not do anything to make it worse. Let him unfold properly. And believe me, if majority of people would understand that, let it be, let child unfold properly instead of screwing it up into what I want to see. As we would be, the whole society will be steps ahead by now. Because, parents believe that, of course I know better. I have all this experience. What do you know? You're 5 years old. Well, they do.
They do. Olivia said some very profound things. I know Ainsley does too.
Right. Because they do know. They really do know.
Yeah, we just talked. We've been bringing. I mean, obviously, as mothers in this podcast, we talk a lot about that. It came up twice recently, in that energy of following and just being instead of dictating to others and children in particular.
My idea of bringing up is to give choice. Would you like to do that or this?
And then they're connecting with their discernment.
Right. Instead of, I am mother, I know better, you're going to do that.
Right.
Well, and when you want them to know what to do when they're 18 years old?
They're frozen. They're frozen.
Where did it come?
Yeah, they won't have that
connection. They have a mechanism.
Right.
The mechanism of discernment.
Wow.
Did not develop.
And then that carries with you into developing a business, perhaps.
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about what type of protocols have you come into your practice that help people to shift if they have some pattern.
Okay, so there is a famous story about a person who comes to Zen master and wants to share, Zen wisdom. And this Zen master pours a tea into his guest's cup and does not stop when the cup is completely full. Continue to pour and pour and pour. His guest screams, "The cup is full." And master says, exactly. Your cup is full and you're coming to me for wisdom and I have no place to. To do something, to improve something, before we start any improvement, we need to empty the cup. And that empty the cup is not as simple as it sounds. We come to our adulthood with a lot of assumptions. Do we know about them or not? But what is coming in our life, everyday experiences are filtered through these assumptions. My first job is to release all fears from a client, all developmental traumatic experiences, all personal crises, everything and anything that I can find that does not serve the person. After the cup is empty, I work on installing what I call baseline. It is esteemed, self-love, attracting the fortune, attracting the good fortune, attracting abundance. That's a baseline. We all come into the world with a baseline. We know it, and many of them are sealing in our abundance. Mm-hmm. So we need we need to empty the cup. We need to put proper baseline. After all this done, and I find the client on a level at least 310 in the mind. Why 310? Because the process is intention. The person can formulate intention and follow it. And then goes the spiritual work. Then goes, changing the place on the map. Then goes all kind of installing a spiritual way. So the first thing first, we need to empty the cup. Mm-hmm. You cannot continue to pour anything when cup is completely full. And unfortunately, in many, many, many cases, 99.99%, the cup is not full with the good stuff.
Right. So like the things that people's cups are full with, like,
and
expectations.
Everybody, you process your experiences. So what is in your expectations? And majority of therapists deal with your perception. Your emotion is a result of your expectation and your perception. And majority of the good therapists too, trying to help people to change their perception. Well, it takes a lot of time and not necessarily a lot of success. Right. My idea is I try to change people's expectations. Mm-hmm. And how I do that? With doubting. If you doubt out all crises, right? The expectation, this the cup is empty, expectation change.
Oh, are you tracking with that, Emily?
Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? There is a perception and expectation, right? There is a situation, and if your perception is meet your expectation, it's a good emotion. If your perception does not meet your expectation, you're upset, right? It's a bad emotion. Well, a majority of therapists work with perceptions. Mm-hmm. Housing allows us to work with expectations.
That reminds me of our neutrality conversation. That sort of, not having an attachment to a certain outcome, an expectation for a certain outcome for everything to be okay.
Right. At minimum.
Like you're going to be right. Like you're going to be okay. Your expectation is that you're going to be okay, whether, the circumstances go one way or the other.
You know what? Okay and not okay is perception.
Mm.
It's a perception.
Mm-hmm.
You are always fine. It's your interpretation of situations that cause you to suffer.
Mm-hmm.
If you only can understand it, that if you can change your expectations, you can change your life. It's, Tony Robbins has a lot of good things to say. And one of them is, it's not your ability, it's your state of mind that governs your life. And what is a state of mind? It's a state on your map of consciousness. It's not your ability. If
Right.
you have real good abilities and do not execute it because you can't, your energy is too low. Your state on the map is.
And we were talking too a lot today about the energy of joy and enthusiasm. And that's when you become really affluent in your magnetism.
Yes.
And because it's a higher
It's
vibration.
a joy.
Yeah, you're exuding that.
Right.
And that's
And
hard.
the grace and gratefulness is a very,
Gratefulness,
very,
yeah.
very good thing to have. Because when you are grateful for what you already have, you attract much more. Much quicker.
Yeah.
Because it's a very good energy.
Yeah.
You attract more things to be grateful because you're already grateful.
And you've said this, I think you've said this, right? Like the universe doesn't understand no.
Correct.
Haven't you said that? So the more you're grateful for, the more yes
Exactly.
you will get.
One word, and it's yes.
Mhm.
Whatever you are will be magnified. So this is why worry is a very big, it's only waste of time. It's actually a bad idea.
It feels like a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners are kind of imprisoned and get into these lower vibration and worry because of their perception of time. We never have enough time, or we're not on the right timeline, or timelines aren't matching up, or when we're expecting something, it doesn't, we're not able, it doesn't materialize. So what you're talking about too is being able to shift your expectation and perception and always exist in that wholeness.
Right. Again and again, that's extremely important to release all developmental dramatic experiences, all fears, all misconceptions about money. Why? Because we process life through our expectations. So if I can help you to change your expectation, your processing of life completely different. So your process life different, the life is different.
Right.
Is that simple?
Right.
Right. And it's amazing to me is that a lot of effort is going to change people's perceptions. If you perceive it differently, that's correct. If you perceive it differently, it will change your emotion. But perceptions are unique to every situation. Why expectation is in your unconscious. If I change your expectation, all your perceptions will change. Not this perception or that perception. All of them will change. It's like a cup, just empty your cup and fill it with a good stuff. Your whole system was completely different.
I like that. Yeah.
Love it.
So let's, while we're on this path and talking about this releasing, would you like to share with our listeners who are with us a protocol in how we can experience some of this?
Right. There is a very powerful protocol in releasing all developmental traumatic experiences. While we are here, we all are born, right? And that by itself is a big traumatic experience. So I will go from conception to birth, and I will bring everybody to 56 years old. I know majority of my listeners are much younger, but 56 is a second return of Saturn. And 28 is the first return, 26 is the second, and Saturn return is every 28 years. And usually it is very conflictual time in people's life. So I will say to 56 and beyond.
Okay.
All right. So let's do that. Let us connect. Let's connect our higher self. Let's ask infinite spirit in our higher self. Find, neutralize, release, remove, and scramble the frequency of all developmental traumatic experiences for every one of us from conception to 3 weeks old. And it's releasing. From birth to 18 months old. From 18 months old to 7 years old, first teeth loss. From 7 to 12 at the beginning of puberty. Puberty, 12 to 15 years. 15 to 18, teenage years left behind. 18 years old to 21 years old, we are done. 21 to 28. First Saturn return. And usually 28th year in our life, majority of people is a Christ-living year. 28 to 42. And 42, it's a midlife crisis. 42 to 56, second Saturn return and beyond. So we just cleared our energy back and forth. So back to from where we are and forth where we are going. And the energy is reset, the present time, allowing you to live without the constricting consciousness, with the full consciousness. And I will ask Infinite Spirit and our higher self to transform this energy into energy of peace. Peace that transcends and transpasses all understanding. Peace for our bodies. Peace for our minds. For our heart, soul, and spirit. Complete and absolute. Integrated to the man. So this is a very universal protocol because, if you are here, you are born. And if you're born, you start the journey with traumatic experiences.
Mm.
And they are preset. Like 28 is, I never have heard a person, 28 was not a dramatic year.
Right. Right.
Right. And another one is 56. I almost died.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
That's coming. I'm
Right.
coming up to that. So our first return, we have 28, and then is it coming back at 56? Is it?
And then 84.
And then 84. Are they similar moments or tests that happen?
Everyone has his or her own process.
Mhm.
But the thing is, this planet of Saturn has 28 years of coming
Rotation.
to the same place
Okay.
where it was when you were born. And for whatever godly reason, for whatever spiritual reason, that particular place in the planet, when planet Saturn comes to your natal chart, exactly in the same place, always dramatic.
Mhm.
Let's put it politely, dramatic.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, so it's interesting, and I know like a lot of that's a large celestial body that is
Saturn
having
is a teacher,
yeah,
big teacher.
a big teacher. Like that's the representation.
That's a big teacher. And again, if you would look on the life on Earth as a particular important experience in the soul evolution, then it would be understandable why birth is an important event. 28 years important event, 42 years important event, but at 42 your natal chart turned 90 degrees. Then 56 is important year because your Saturn, second time got into place where you were born. And 84, it's a set time. All these things are preset in life between life.
Mm.
When
Wow.
we say, do we have a free will? We definitely have it in life between.
Right.
When we come back on Earth, we have a choice. We can conceptualize it as a free will, but certain things are preset, and not much we can change.
Mm.
However, we have a free will in the sense that we have a choice how we react to these situations. We react as enlightened human beings, and it's one journey. And if we relate in complete panic and fear, then we invoke another crisis by very low energy.
So people use words in different ways in terms of talking about energy. So in Feng Shui, we talk about qi a lot, life force energy. In a lot of people in law of attraction, they're talking about quantum energy. And we talk a lot in the spiritual dowsing in your protocols. There's a lot of God view, consciousness, Christ consciousness. How does this can someone of an atheist perspective on life also connect with their higher self in these expressions?
Well, if person is an artist, then the real problem is ignorance. The ignorance is the person does not understand that they are embodiment of infinite spirit or God or source.
Or source, or
They need to find for themselves a different interpretation. My whole journey for this spiritual involvement started when I was very, very young. And my main problem was, I couldn't convince, I couldn't be convinced that you are born, you will get married, have children, and you will die. And that's the whole journey. I intuitively knew that it cannot be the truth. So I read Hegel and Hegel in English, in Russian it's Hegel. Spinoza, and obviously it does not explain anything, it's just more confusion. And eventually, I met people, when I moved from Kiev to Moscow, I met people who were on spiritual paths and who introduced me to the spiritual interpretation. I was 30 years old at that time.
Yeah, wow.
And that changed everything. I found an explanation of being that completely was satisfactory. And before I dowsed as a professional dowser, I did life between lives regressions, past life regressions. And when you go through the process of doing this with people, it's an incredible experience because, if a person goes through, say, past life regression and comes out of regression and say, oh my God, Miriam, it definitely was me. There is no shadow of a doubt. Well, whatever we resolve, say allergy, right? Although that's now my minor issue, I'm convinced that I'm immortal. I'm an immortal being. If I was then and I'm here, then I am immortal. That part of me is immortal. So that complete change, it doesn't even, what they came for to release. It loses its importance even versus the light of, oh my God, I do understand that, there is a part of me that's immortal. And now it's easy for me to understand that it's a spirit.
That's neat.
And you can back that up to a certain degree with science for, you know what I mean? For the science-minded individual who
eventually it will be science. It just takes time. That's all.
Yeah, it's especially neat to see too in the past couple of years that I've noticed more alternative therapies that are coming, whether they're through a lot. There's not one successful person I know that doesn't have some sort of meditation practice or a grounding practice, or I can count on both of my hands how many people I run into that have heard of or have participated in shamanic journeys or other medicinal practices in terms used for therapy, and they all have one and I think I shared with you, Emily, that walking meditation I did, and they interviewed us all afterwards, and it was an international walking meditation that they did, and they passed around a microphone and they said, say the word that comes to mind. And it was recorded, but we couldn't hear each other necessarily because it was such a large circle. It was kind of to ourselves. But what was shared was most people spoke to a sense of unification or connectedness or that tapping into a oneness. And I think that, maybe interchangeable way for people to use words in terms of talking to energy and how to access that. Is that connection to oneness
there is a part of us that is, I don't want to say part, but I just don't know that word. That's a part of God. And if I have it and you have it, there is as soon as we understand our own divinity, we are part of oneness immediately.
Yeah. It's, Emily and I too, and I know you and I, when we talk and hang out, is we talk a lot about signs and synchronicities and things that really affirm when we are, it affirms when we're on our path. So you do this work And I know when you dowse with me and you correct my energy, then I'm more aware of signs and synchronicities. Like I'll be like, oh, you won't believe it. I saw 3, robins or
I'll tell you,
interact.
I have a view of water, right?
Right.
And it's
so pretty.
Right. It's incredible experience. If I say something that literally, a client will say, oh my God, Miriam, you changed my life, right? I will see a dolphin.
Oh,
It's so unbelievable. I don't even,
I'm looking for dolphins.
I don't even, say it to a client because it's really hard to believe.
It's really just for you.
The dolphin will be right here in front of this room.
I think when you look up like shamanic symbolism for dolphins too, that a big part of it is play, childlike play, joy, that whole energy.
Very play.
Yeah, and that gives you a great empowerment. That as we're talking about, like filling our cup with good energy,
right?
Being able to tap into that for your business, right?
We need to understand that if we are living our gift, the gift that we came here to live, we're very easy, successful now.
Yeah. Yeah, it takes very little effort when you.
And I have the protocol when I start working with a client. I tell them your gift is because they can download it.
Oh, right. We experienced that at that workshop you did at Emily's studio, right?
Your gift is that, and it's so important to understand what is your gift.
Yeah,
because it's to convert that gift into your doing. It's much easier and gives you ability to work with joy, to do your mission.
Yeah,
because you really came here to do exactly that.
Right. I love that so much. Do you remember that, Emily? I know you might have been busy because we were at the studio for the workshop.
No, I got my reading done and I'm totally blanking right now.
Oh, you are?
My gift but I remember it being profoundly, like, I was like, yes. I can't remember what it was right now.
I was putting you on the spot, but I mean,
I will have to. I know I took pictures of everything, so I'll have to go back in my
drive
phone
somewhere. We'll have to talk about it in a later episode. But yeah, that was really cool to see everybody really just light up. That's like an indication when you have that sparkle in your eye.
Oh my God, that is it. Now, yes.
Now I can move forward. I can. You're saying what I needed, like the last thing they needed to hear before they took that leap into starting whatever business it was.
Now I can do.
Yeah, that's so wonderful. So, tell us a little bit about this event that you have coming up in June.
Okay, on June 21st, 22nd, and 23rd, all workshops that I ever did in different places and in different times will be presented during these 3 days and video. You can have access to event by going to Miami or by doing it on Zoom or by, getting this recording. There is a reason for doing all of this in 3 consecutive days. We want to have all this work that is done. It took me, decades of years to put together, to be in one place. When I do even one workshop, usually it's a profound experience for people. Imagine what's going to happen when you're immersed in that energy for 3 days.
Yeah.
It should be a big shift.
And I think it's really attracting some already very powerful people into it at the right
it should be
level.
It should be a big shift.
A big transformation.
So all protocols, one by one, will be done in, some will be repeated, like say, fears will be released several times, developmental traumatic experiences will be released several times because they have place of release in different workshops. And misconceptions about money will be released. You may think, I don't have it. Of course you don't have it consciously. But money doesn't go on the trees, and somebody told that around you when you were 2 years old, you have it.
Right.
And
That's in there somewhere needs to be released for many people, especially in the Western world.
Exactly. And then, there is a ceiling of what you're living because it sits in your unconscious and you don't even know it's there.
Yeah.
So when it's released, different ceiling, much higher ceiling will be installed if it's not even ceiling level. So the name of it is Zero Limit Mastermind for a reason. We want to live from that to 3 days with a zero limitation. There is no limitation. We are limitless.
So this is ideal for people who have that entrepreneurial spirit, who are like, maybe they are like, they can't even see themselves moving past someone they might aspire to become. They feel there's probably blocks or resistance to attracting the right clients or getting the money that they desire or the freedom. Because money's not always a success, right? It's the
imagine,
freedom.
My own kids started this big, YouTube channel. Right?
Yeah.
And she was the vice president of a company.
We should plug his channel. Let's plug his channel for him.
Right. We started. Then appears the person who, offers him a hell of a lot of money just to quit a job and just to do it full time.
Right.
That's what synchronicity is.
Yeah.
The money comes to you in one form or another when you really have the message to deliver to the world. If you have the message to deliver to the world, the infinite spirit will find the channel for you to do it.
Yeah.
You really need to somehow understand that you are embodiment of that spirit. You're like a child of God, like a child of this spirit. Will good parent take care of a child? Of course.
Right. Yeah. Again, with the child, like energy and the creativity and that concept. So I'm so excited for this event. And so there's going to be Ray Perez, marketing guru.
Yes, he is the number one global branding. He will be talking there about, again and again, she will be talking about outer game. So how to be a master in your outer game.
Yes.
And she is a client of mine. She's a client of mine for 3 years. And she, like nobody else, very well understands that your inner game. Your outer game is a function of your inner.
And I will say, Emily, too, when I was talking with Ray about you and making that, introduction, so he's aware of you too. He happened to be at the gym strength training. So again, you need to keep your physical body vessel in its best to be able to sustain all of this energy that you have. And I can't wait for it. I can't wait. I'll be there a little bit to talk about feng shui and what that means to being your best energetically and how to tie those together. So we are going to provide that information too later. But what are you most excited about in that event? Seeing who shows up?
No, I am more excited in this event to have all this work in one place.
Oh, yeah.
I really am, because, I presented many times in many different places, and it all scattered. And it's actually Ray, I need to say thank you to. She talks about it, as long as he's my client for 3 years.
Yeah.
We need to bring it in one place.
Yeah.
For people to be able to have access to it. And she finally convinced me to do it. And I'm very excited.
Oh, good.
And of course, I would like people to have a good results of it. It's always.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's always very rewarding, right?
And it's very important for me too. It took my life to come to that level of work. And of course, I want this work to be on earth and continuous and serve people.
Yeah. Be accessible and to grow. Yeah.
And serve to highest good.
Yeah.
Of all of us.
Well, I think I hope that everyone who has joined us has enjoyed hearing from Dr. Miriam Divinsky and receiving that protocol. So that's a unique experience. Have you ever done that on a podcast before? First time?
Yes, it is. I do.
Yay.
I practiced, but I never did it publicly.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. We're really honored to have you. And Emily, do you have any questions? Because I feel like Miriam and I spent so much time together. But is there anything that came to your mind that might help to, fill any questions that you have or our listeners?
I think I was kind of asking them as we go. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Well, with that being said, we're deeply honored to have you in the podcast, and we are going to share.
Thank you so much.
Bring them to that landing page. So
Yeah.
we'll see,
Yeah, we'll drop the link to the landing page so everyone can have access to Zero Limits, and you can contact us via any of the links in the description or hop into our Facebook group, the closed and private Facebook group. We have the Conscious Collaboration Collective. We'll continue this conversation. And if you contact us, through that, we will give you a special promo code that will give you a great deal, a percentage off.
It's actually 50% off.
50%.
Oh, that's worth it.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it definitely does.
Yeah.
Worth it. It's a shift. It's experiencing a shift.
Yeah.
In your own, the whole idea is if you're immersed in this type of work, it will bring you to your own destiny, to rendezvous with your own destiny.
Yes, that's what we love to talk about. We love to hear. It's like, it's very inspiring and gets us into that place of like joy and play and gratitude.
Right.
That seems to be the theme of today, I think. Well, Emily and everyone, thank you for hanging out.
Thank you, Dr. Miriam. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Okay. Well, until next time, we will talk to you in 5.
Talk to you in 5, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank y'all so much for listening to our podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends so they can join our circle of collaboration on this journey. You can find us on Instagram at Conscious Collaboration Podcast, on Spotify, iTunes, and Audible, to name a few. Please join us next time for another deep dive into how you can live life in more alignment, mind, body, and business. Send us your questions and comments in our DMs or email us at consciouscollaborationpodcast@gmail.com. See you in 5 minutes.